Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is a handover of a 2019 Swift Escape Compact 402. So as we start the walk around on the driver's side of the vehicle first, the first point you get to is your freshwater fill up. So this is where you fill the vehicle with fresh water for your habitation area. So you carry a hose pipe and some hose pipe ends, as it's mainly just a brass tap on site. Lift the cover, and inside you've got a lockable freshwater cap which opens with a habitation key, and then simply put the hose pipe in there, and you can monitor the level of water that your tank's got off your main control panel. But what I would do is I would just pop the hose pipe in, wait until it overflows, and then you know you've got a full tank of fresh water on board. Should you not be able to get a hose pipe to the vehicle and you've got a container or a aqua roll, what you can do is you can get a wheel sure flow pump. And in here, this is the power point, so you just lift this white cap off, and there's two pins. Pop the pins in from the pump and the other end into here, and drop the submersible pump into the water, and it'll start sucking the water out your container aqua roll into your freshwater holding tank. Underneath you've got your freshwater drain. These are automatic drains, so these are controlled through the control panel on board, but I'll show you that when we're inside. But make sure you drain this off in the winter, as you wouldn't want the water to freeze, or if you're just simply not using the vehicle for a while, don't let the water sit in it, drain it down. And then at the back you've got your wastewater, so this is anything that you've put down a plug hole, goes into a separate holding tank, and on the way out of your site you go over your wastewater grid and let the water out. Coming further back, you do have your cassette toilet, so again opens with the habitation key. Push the buttons in. Make sure the blade's closed on the toilet inside, because if it is open it won't come out, and you'll be able to lift and slide the cassette free of the vehicle. You've got a handle, so when it's heavy and full you can wheel it to your disposal point, which is normally beside your toilet block on site. Remove the cover, press the button at the back. The orange button allows a bit of air in, stops it glugging. Tip it out. Once you've tipped the content of the toilet cassette out, put some water in, give it a rinse and tip out again. And then if you're using the liquid, a cap full, which is 120 ml of the liquid, which is either the green or the blue, into the cassette, and it's good to go back into the vehicle and be used. Or if you're using the tablets, put a pint of water in now, or you can put it in completely bone dry and flush a pint of water into the cassette, and then followed by a sachet, which are in the cellophane sachets of either the blue or the green, and one tablet is enough for each time you change the toilet. But the toilet will indicate when it's full on the toilet inside, which I'll go through when on board. At the back here you've got your mains power point. So this is where you hook up with two 40 volts. So get your hooker blade, lift the collar, slide the collar top on top of here until it clicks in. Hook the vehicle first and then the sight, and do it in reverse when unhooking, just so you're not walking around with a live lead should it be a wet day. This indicates that your boiler is in the back corner here, because this is the flue for your Truma boiler. So behind there is your boiler. Just make sure this is always obstruction free, so it allows the fumes out when operating on gas. Going to the back of the vehicle, you've got your fuel bars. So this is where the back panel has been strengthened to take a bike rack should you ever fit one. It's a fuel bike rack you would need. And then on the bottom you have 4 parking sensors along the bottom of the vehicle, which will come on when in reverse. On this side you've got your awning light, 2 fridge vents, and in here again opening with the habitation key, LPG, liquid petroleum gas. This is your gas locker. And in here you can fit 1 or 2 6 kilograms. There's one further back, there's space for one, so you can put your spare at the back and the one you're using at the front. Get yourself a spanner, so either an adjustable wrench or a gas spanner. It's an opposite threads with it being gas, so it's left hand to tighten, right to loosen. Tighten it up, turn it on and off from the top, press the button, which is your crash valve, for 3 seconds. Hold this green button in, it allows it into the vehicle, and then there is straps behind to strap the bottle in, and use the straps from behind to go over the top of the collar before you hook the bottle onto the pigtail to strap the bottles down. And always make sure that you turn them off before you do start travelling, as it's safer to have your gas isolated. Your habitation key also works your motorhome door, your habitation door, and then at the front with the Fate key you've got a lockable diesel cap, which is on the passenger side. Tyre pressures, so 5 bar on the front, which is 72.3 psi, and 5.5 on the back, which is 79.5 psi for your tyres. Your engine battery lives underneath the floor here, it's not underneath the bonnet, so if you ever do need to change it, you've got to remove this section of the cab floor. You've got a toolkit which includes a jack in the brace and a tone eye in here. Underneath this one is where your leisure battery is, and you'll see in the corner there you've got your 40 amp breaker fuse, and then your bonnet release is on the side of the passenger dashboard. So pull that, and then you've got a second catch just in the middle of the bonnet, which is this one here, and then we'll go through all your fluids. So starting off in the top left hand corner, as you're looking at it, you've got your screen wash. This cover lifts off and you can fill your power steering fluid and your coolant, which is your pink liquid there, brake fluid, oil filler and oil dipstick, paint code for the white, which is blank or white, which is 249, your paint code. And then you've got an earth for giving or receiving a jump start, as the battery is underneath the floor. This is your jump point for your earth, and your positive is just in the corner here. This cover does come down. If the cover's locked, just put the key in or a screwdriver and lift that up, and it'll give you access to the contact for your positive battery terminal. Once on board, above the habitation door, you've got your 12-volt control panel. So your on-off button is the Swift logo here of the bird, so you turn on and off. This is your control panel on. This tells us that we are hooked up and it's charging, and it tells us that our leisure battery is full and our vehicle battery is 95% full. But this is the home screen, so starting off with the main ones, so you want to turn your lights on. You've got dimmer lights, so you can dim your lights once they're on, and you've got 2 dimmers, so you can sort them out to how bright you want your lights. Going back to home in the bottom left, you've got your power, so you can view your leisure battery. 14.2 volts. Take the hookup out to give a true reading, but we're currently drawing between 1.3 and 1.6 amp, and the vehicle battery, which is 12.7. Water, so 50% fresh, 25% waste. You've got your level alerts on, so once that does drop, this panel will beep just to tell you that you're running low on water, so it's now time to top up. You can have frost alerts on, so once the temperature drops, it'll tell you to either get rid of your water, or if you're using it, then it's fine, because your hot water will keep the water above freezing. And then to empty the fresh, you just press this button here, and to empty the waste, you press this button, as they are electric dumps from the outside. You've got your lights, which we've already been through, but you've got your heating, which you can control through here, but I wouldn't. I'll stick to this for your heating, which I'll get onto in a moment, which is your Truma C. You've got your awning light, so you can turn that on and off, and you can turn your pump on and off. So if you're using any water, taps, toilet, shower, you must have your pump on to pressurise your water. Otherwise you'll just get whatever's left in the lines and it will simply fade out. And across you have your Truma CP control panel. There's loads of videos on this, but I'll keep it nice and simple. So to turn on and off, you just press and hold. This is like standby, so you just press enter to get into the menu. And you've got a motorhome there with a thermometer in. This is the temperature of the motorhome in the top left hand corner. So you've got all the way up to 30 degrees or all the way down to off. So once you're happy with the temperature that you want the inside of the vehicle to be, you just press enter. And then going along, you've got a thermometer and some water. This is your hot water, so if you haven't got any water on board, don't put this on, because it is like boiling a kettle without any water. You'll burn the element out. But should you want hot water, press, and you've got off, eco, which is 40 degrees of heating your water, hot, which is 60, or boost, which will turn off the heating and prioritize the water first. So for this, we'll just say hot, which is 60 degrees of heating your water, and you only have a 10-litre boiler, so you only have 10 litres at any one time. And then you've got a picture of a gas bottle and some electricity sign. And what this is your energy source. So your gas, if you were wild camping and you had no other energy source available, no electric. Then you've got mix 1, which is 1 kilowatt of electric and gas. Mix 2, which is 2 kilowatts of electric and gas. You'd use this if in the winter, if you were in desperate need of heating the vehicle or the water, as doubling the source reduces the time it takes to heat on mix 2. And then you've got electric on 1 kilowatt, which is 750 watts. Or you've got electric on 2, which is 1500 watts. Depending on what your amperage the site gives you through the hookup, depends whether you use electric on 1 or electric on 2. But normally electric on 1 on smaller CL sites in Ayers in France, and electric on 2 on most of the sites throughout the UK. And then in the top right, you do have a fan. So we've got on Eco, which is a smaller feed of 12 volt to the fan. High, which is a higher feed of 12 volt to the fan, but you can hear it more. So Eco when you're sleeping, high when you want to blast it around the van, but this is... And then you've got boost, which will just boost the heating as it'll put the fan onto the highest setting. In the bottom left, you've got a timer, so you can time it to come on and off, just the once though. The time on the control panel, so you can adjust that the time once the clocks go back and forth. And then should you get a warning triangle in the middle, go to the spanner in the bottom right, go to reset, so scroll through, press enter, it'll come up preset, press enter, it will restart this control panel and you'll have to go in and reset everything again like I've just ran through. In the kitchen area, you've got a microwave, which is a 800 watt mains power microwave, so you've got to be hooked up for this to work. And then you do have three lit gas rings. Once you've turned them off, if you do, just allow them to cool down before you put the cooker hood down. And if they're struggling to light, just keep a hold of it once you've spark ignitioned the hob. Same for the oven and the grill as well. All it's going to do is you holding it in will allow the gas to continue to come through the crash valve until the crash valve gets warm enough on the thermocouple on the burner of each jet, and then it'll stay open and allow the gas to continue to come through. If it does go off, it just means you've done it too quick and the thermocouple hasn't got up to temperature. Underneath you've got oven, and then above you've got the grill. You may want to take your oven shelf, grill pan and oven shelves out when travelling. Some storage drawers, there's your grill pan. And some storage in here. Pushing the catches in will release the travel lock on the lockers. So you've got your plug for your microwave, plate rack and cup rack, and some more storage. Two 240 volt sockets with a handy wire tidy there, so you can push your wires for your kettle and your toaster up there and then sit them further down, and your light switch. And then to operate your Dometic fridge, so you turn on and off here. To change the mode between the battery, so the battery is designed to keep the temperature of the fridge. So you've got to pre-chill it beforehand. So if you're lucky enough to keep this at home, or you are moving from site to site, it's already been pre-chilled because you've got your shop near and it's nice and chilled because you've been on site. But if you're going from home, put the fridge on a day before you leave. The night before you leave, put your shopping in, allow it to chill. And then when you do start to drive, just knock it onto the battery, which you just press this one here, the top one, and you see it'll fail because there is no 12 volt because the engine's not running. And then what you can do is that'll just keep it at the same temperature until you either arrive while camping and you'd switch it to gas, and then it'll fail a few times until it lights, because it's just pulling the gas through the valve and the pipes. And then, or you go back to site and you're on 240 volts. So 12 volt off the engine when the engine's running, gas if you're wild camping, and mains hook up if you are on a site, because you've paid your fees, don't waste your gas. And then your temperature, yeah, so when pre-chilling, put on 5. Then what you might want to do is knock it down to 4, because some people say that your shopping can freeze if it's on for a long time on 5. And then one last thing about the fridge: once you've finished using it for the season, or you're simply putting the van away for a couple of weeks as you've got prior engagements, take everything out the fridge, give it a wipe out with some antibacterial wipes or some sprays, Dettol, that sort of stuff. And then what you need to do is don't close the door, but there's a little toggle on here on the light, push it in, slide these 2 pins out, and if you shut the door, you'll see it doesn't shut fully, so the rubber doesn't go at the frame, and it allows air circulation in and out of your fridge there. At the back of the vehicle, you've got your U-shaped lounge. So you've got your wardrobe here, which has got your silver screens for your side windows, which just press on the passenger and driver's doors, but I'll get onto that when I'm in the cab. You've got your wardrobe, telly aerial, so if you are struggling to get a picture with your TV, what you can do is you can loosen the nut off, but always make sure that before you travel, the pole is pulled fully into the vehicle and this is tightened and not loose, so it'll stop the aerial from moving if there was any high winds. So loosen it off, push the pole up, tighten it back up just to keep the pole where it's at, and then use the toggle to direct the aerial on your roof. But look where the other motorhomes and caravans are pointing, where you parked up or on site, and you should get a similar signal to them without having to keep moving and retuning the TV. At the back as well, you'll see that there's a blue light on that white box, which is a Vision Plus TV amplifier. On there, there's a little button which says min and max, and that's just a booster, so if it was too strong you can drop it down, or if it was pixelating you can boost your signal, so you should get a static TV signal and your picture isn't pixelated. Underneath here at the back is where your boiler is, like I explained from outside. So the boiler holds 10 litres of water at any one time. In the winter, it's very important that you drain it down. If we're going to have a hard frost, you don't want the water to freeze in there. So from around end of October, start of November, you want to drain it down if you're not using it, and keep it drained down until March, April time. So this holds 10 litres of water. If the 10 litres was to freeze in here, it would cost you a lot of money for a boiler, and it isn't covered under any warranty, as it's the user's opinion to get rid of the water. So we always recommend to get rid of your water in your boiler. So down here you'll notice that there is a yellow tap. If you just lift that up into the middle and stand it up on end, the water will drain directly out underneath the vehicle. Come in with no power, so the pump's not kicking in like it is now because the pump's switched on. So come in with no pump on, lift it up, drain that out, Drain off your fresh and your waste by your control panel, as it's an electric dump on these, like I've said. And then leave all your taps open throughout the vehicle so that no air accumulates in the pipelines and any water will just drain out. If you do leave the vehicle hooked up, some people do this, but I'm not 100% certain why you would if you keep it at home. Some people leave the water on low and then they don't have to drain it down because they might be using it. So if you leave your water on, then you don't have to keep draining it down and then doing the purging system to get it back filled with water. So once you've drained it down and you've left all your taps open and you've opened the outside 2 taps via the control panel, when you want to come and reuse the vehicle with some water, just drop the yellow toggle tap so it's lying like this and not like that. Shut the waste and the fresh from on the control panel after you've drained it down. Shut all the taps, fill the vehicle with water like I've shown you from outside. Then once it's full, come in, put the pump on, go to the cold side of the tap first. You'll get an automatic pressurised flow of cold water because it's coming from the tank underneath the van via the pump to the tap. Once you go to the hot side, it'll cough, splutter, you'll not get a pressurised water. No water will come through for about 3 or 4 minutes. And what it's doing is it's pulling the water from the tank underneath via the pump into here. And it's filling the 10 litres before it then reaches the tap. So it'll cough, splutter, make all sorts of noises until you get a pressurised flow from the hot side. This is when you know that your system is then primed and you've got a pressurised flow of water. So to make the bed at the back, all you need to do is lift and slide out, lift and slide out, put your legs down, and then drop your backrest in the back. And there you have a double bed, but you can remove them as well at the back so that you get a little bit more width to the bed. Next to the wardrobe, underneath the seat, so if you lift it up as it's on gas struts, this is your EC650 unit, which is your power supply unit. So on the left hand side you've got all of your fuses, so do carry some spares, and they're all listed what fuse does what. So if you've got any problems with any 12 volt appliances, check that the fuse hasn't blown. At the top you've got a system shutdown button so you can isolate the battery so you don't get a power drain off your leisure battery in the winter should you not be using it and storing it up. And then here you've got your RCD, so your main trip tester for your 240 appliances, and your MCBs which do your various appliances which are listed here. And then always make sure that this charger button is pushed in and lit up, so just leave it as it is now and you'll get your charger. I'll charge your leisure battery. And then your heating and hot water, this is just for your 240 side to the control panel. If that was to be lifted up and not on, you'd get a warning triangle on your Truma control panel, meaning that you've got no 240 volt to the heater. But just leave them as they are. These will only work when you're hooked up. Obviously your heating and hot water does work off gas, but this is just the 240 volt power side of it. Now in your washroom, so you've got your toilet. So to operate your toilet, you press the blue button even on the back, and you'll get a pressurized flush. Make sure the pump's on as well. And then you've got this grey lever. So when it's shut, you'll get into a habit of flushing first, which lubricates the seal on the blade and stops the blade hatch from getting dirty. Once you've flushed, if you then slide it to the right and open the blade, use the toilet, flush after use, and then bring this back to the left, which isolates the cassette. So then if it does come up full, you can get it out from outside. Should it be open, you can't get it out. If you've bought the blue liquid and you've bought the pink as well, because on a motorhome, on newer motorhomes, the feed for the flush is taking off the main tank. There is no header tank like caravans and older motorhomes where you'd put your pink liquid. What you can do is, if you get a spray bottle, dilute some pink liquid into there, you can spray the bowl and then use the flush, and it'll give you the nice clean toilet bowl, and it'll smell nicer as well in the washroom. Shower curtain, which comes across the door when using the shower, and your tap is your shower head as well, so that would just pull out and clip up here. And as you can see there, your water is working, and that is getting up the temperature there as it's getting nice and warm. And then you do have a toiletry cabinet, towel holder, toilet roll holder, and a switch there for the lights in the washroom. Your table can come from here and go into the back there, as it's just on a pole that sits in the floor. And then underneath here you don't have any storage, because you do have, if you lift this up, this is your fresh water tank which is on board. Now in the cab, which is based on a Fiat Ducato, you've got the handbrake to your right as it's a motorhome, so down the right for the handbrake. On the doors you've got driver and passenger electric windows, and electric and mirror adjustment, so you can choose 2 mirrors on each side, so you've got your top to adjust and the bottom, which is your blind spot. Headlight adjustment and rear fog lights. Wiper stalk, but you've got trip computer on the end, so you can press that button, it'll go through the middle screen, tell you your range, your average and instant consumption, your travelling times, and your distance travelled. And to reset it, you just press and hold. Lights and indicators, and at the bottom you've got off in the middle, cruise control at the top, which brings on the green light at the bottom of the rev count. And then you just push up to set, push up to speed up, pull down to slow down, cancel with the foot brake or cancel on the end of the stalk, and then you can press resume, and it will go to the last speed set before the engine's turned off. Once the engine has been turned off, you then have to reset it by pushing it up, because it's got no memorized speed. And then at the bottom you've got speed limiter, so you'll see in there underneath the date it'll say 20 miles per hour. Push up slowly, go up in 1s, push and hold will go up in 5s, and this just means that you can feather the throttle and it'll not go over that speed until you hardly accelerate, and it will overrule the speed limiter. 6-speed manual gearbox with lift the collar into reverse, and you'll hear the beep beep, which is your rear view or rear parking sensors even. Hazards. Locks the cab, you'd have to manually lock the door, and to lock the door you just push the chrome catch in next to the handle, and that'll lock the door. Heated mirrors, a USB for charging and a 12 volt for charging purposes. You do have a USB down here for the head unit and 2 cup holders. On the outside ring on the left hand dial you do have the temperature, and then you've got the fan speed at the bottom. Must be on at least 1 or more for the aircon button to work, which is this middle button, which brings on the orange light. And then on the right dial you've got your distribution on the outside, so face, feet, screen, and then whether you're recirculating air or you're bringing fresh air in. And then finally your radio, FM, AM, DAB. Press 1 to 6 to save your favourite channels. You can browse your channels by scrolling through. Media, doesn't take a CD, is USB. Or you can press phone and connect phone, it is Bluetooth. Add a phone, you want to find Uconnect on your device. Make sure the pins match, which is a different pin each time. Press pair on your phone, and it'll ask you if you want to sync your contacts. If you just press allow, it will download your phone book into here, and then you can scroll through your contacts when you press phone. You've got a glove box on the top, which is heated and cooled by the air conditioning. So if you want to keep little treats in there in the summer when the aircon's on, that's a great place, so you don't have to keep getting up to the fridge. And a glove box here. And then on the front, like I was saying, Windows, you've got them blinds to go on, which are your blackouts, silver screens, and then you'd pinch, slide along on your Remus car blinds, pinch, slide along, and then that would black your windows, or should I say your windscreen out, and then your silver screens will do your cab windows.